Hi there, and welcome to our Vegan Mainstream Webinar Bites. This is where we go through a quick topic to give you some ideas and inspire you. And today's topic is about webinars. I'm so excited because webinars is really one of those big things that I did when I first started my business and has really been an amazing marketing tool for me all along the way. I did fall off for a few years for a long story. We don't have time to get to that. But this year we're getting back into webinars and I'm really excited. And I also want to inspire some of you out there if you haven't started using webinars or have tipped your toes into it. Hopefully in today's video, I can get you fired up again and jumping back into this amazing tool. Because in my opinion, this is really such a interesting tool because it can do so many things for your business, whether it's marketing, whether it's connecting with your audience or driving sales. This kind of supreme, I would say, marketing tool can really do it all for you. Now, for some of you, this may be your first time joining us for a webinar bite or joining us here at Vegan Mainstream. And I want to say welcome. I'm Stephanie Redcross. I've been vegan myself for about 12 years. And when I started this company, I was really passionate about not just marketing, but being a support system for fellow vegan entrepreneurs out there, providing education, content, information, and really kind of making sure that you guys have a place not only to get support, but also to get ideas. So I'm hoping today's webinar continues that tradition and you continue to join in for these bites. All right. And then welcome back anybody who has been with me through all of these years. All right. So let's dive in. What I love about really webinars is how diverse this tool is. Of all the marketing tools out there, it really has the flexibility to do it all for you. If you've ever been on any of my other webinars or any of my other talks, a lot of times I talk about how the marketing process in your business is really broken up into 3 different steps. There's an opportunity to drive leads, which means bringing somebody aware and driving that awareness around your business. There's an opportunity where you should be connecting with your audience, educating them, providing them free information, content, so that they understand the value that you bring. And then there's the phase where you actually do sales, where you're actually promoting a product or a service. I bring this up because for a lot of people, I still see a lot of people kind of smashing all these things together, trying to do them all at once or trying to do them in one email or one video or one marketing tool. And the reality is they really are different steps in the process. We don't have a ton of time today to go through each one of these steps. So if you're curious about it, just do a search for one of our videos where I walk through what I call the marketing formula. But today, what I want to bring up the fact is that webinars can function in each one of these types of steps in your marketing formula. And not every tool can do that. Not every tool has that flexibility and that diversity. As well as what webinars can do is they can combine some of these steps. Sometimes you can do some nurturing, and at the end of a webinar, you can do a small promotion. And what I mean is giving people an offer if they decide they want to sign up that day, giving people an opportunity to sign up within 48 or 72 hours of doing a webinar. It really has an opportunity for you to tag on a little bit of another stage in your marketing formula. However, I do want to warn, I don't want you to just jam these all together. We really do want these to be different steps. I just want you to get a little excited like I do that once you perfect this tool, it's something that can do all types of amazing things for your business. All right. Now, for a lot of people, when I talk about webinars, especially this day and age, they're like, why can't I just do a live broadcast? I mean, with social media out there, it's way faster. I can just click a button. I can just go live. And I love live. Don't get me wrong. Social media live broadcast has changed the world for internet marketing, for people who are solopreneurs, as a way for people to build audiences and connect to people. It's been amazing. But it isn't really a substitute for webinars, at least in my opinion. To me, they are separate channels. They are separate channels that can do separate things. And what I want to do is help kind of highlight why webinars are different than social media live broadcasts. Now, Yes, they're similar. And yes, I think social media live broadcast has a place in your marketing plan. So this is not me putting one down necessarily. This is really helping you see the differences and where webinars really has a unique place. And what I love about webinars is webinars can be embedded on your website. It can all happen in your world, in your home base. And why this is important is as you're building your business, you're always trying to get people to your website. You're trying to make sure that people understand who you are and what's happening. So having a marketing tool that allows people to get free content, information, support, and it's done on your domain is a great marketing tool and a great way to bring people into the fold. For people to kind of get that opportunity to do that second, third, or fourth click, because since they're already there, they may go check out your blog. They may go check out an article written about you. They may go take a look at your about page, or maybe even look at a product page. So it's a great natural progression if you can work hard to bring them to your platform. Where most of the social media platforms and tools out there are going to require you to not only operate in their platform, but also the visibility to the broadcast. Sometimes the visibility or the ability to comment, interact, and the communication tools are all based on these individuals being followers and registered in that platform. Now, there's pros and cons of that. Yes, it's great because it can help you get visibility in those platforms, but sometimes it can be tricky because not everyone can participate. And what's nice about webinars is webinars, because the software is outside of a specific platform, everybody can participate. The other thing I love about webinars is as you grow, as you start to get used to some of these fancy tools out there, you can do really cool things. You can have chats on there. People can post questions, and then you can have your audience rank up which question you should answer next. You can even stream a webinar onto the social media platforms. So that way you kind of get a little bit of the best of both worlds. Some platforms even have dial-in numbers. I find this is great because not everyone has the latest computer and are not up to date. So they want to participate, but they need an easy way to get in. And a dial-in number can work really well. As well as because there's video content on there or video technology, you can actually broadcast and have your face and slides on the page. Or if you get super fancy software, you can actually allow your audience to turn on their camera and speak to you directly and interact with you directly, almost like you guys are in person. So having those abilities, those capabilities can really make a webinar a completely different experience between you and your customers and your prospects. As well as webinar software will give you tracking. It'll let you know who attended the webinar, who registered, and then who only registered and didn't attend. And getting all that detail can be great when you're ready to take your marketing to that next level. All right. Now, the other thing I love about webinars is it's awesome for support, especially for existing customers. A lot of times when we think about our marketing tools, we're always talking about the new folks. We're always talking about how do we get more people. But what webinars can do is they can really bring in additional value for your customers. You can host things like Q&A calls where you can educate people, you can support them through a process, you can even drive accountability. This is really great if you're in a service-based business and you're teaching people things by getting on calls with your clients. By having a group of people sign up that you know everyone has gotten the baseline knowledge because they've gone through a course of yours, they've attended a live event of yours, or maybe they've read your book, whatever type of business you're in, and getting on an actual group call where you guys talk through questions and where you give them ideas and recommendations and share stories can really create not only a sense of community, but really help you take your connection with your customers to a whole new level. The other thing you can do is you can turn these into like special virtual events where you maybe announce new products or services that are coming down the pipeline. Maybe you have special guests on the line, especially if you offer a product. Maybe you're coming out with a new line of vegan shoes or purses, and you may have a special guest on there that inspired the design or give customers kind of a inside track into why you guys decided to launch this product or put this new offering out there. You can also have exclusive training. You may have things that only existing customers get or people who've interacted with you before. You can also do this for new people, but it's a great way to keep customers coming back, as well as turning some of these things into paid options or maybe a VIP option, where a person kind of purchases your product or service. Let's say, for example, you sell vegan makeup, and you could turn webinars into a VIP option where someone can actually get a series of or access a series of these videos where you walk them through how to do different looks, how to actually use different styles of makeup, how to achieve different types of nighttime, daytime, and looks. And you can actually have them potentially pay for this service. And that can not only generate more revenue for you, but also help people learn and understand your products better. Because you've gone through that initial hurdle of making sure they purchase the item. Now you're in a phase where you're helping them use it, helping them stay connected, and helping them continue to want and enjoy your product or service. All right. Now, I don't want to lie. Webinars can be a little bit of work. There's a lot that has to happen and there's a lot of steps. But the awesome thing about webinars is they have this like rinse and repeat ability. Meaning once you've gone through all these steps, once you've set up your first registration page, once you've set up your email series, meaning someone registers, they get an email from you that says, hey, you're confirmed for this webinar. It starts on Tuesday, blah, blah, blah date. And then you set up these reminder emails where a person gets a reminder one day before or maybe an hour before your webinar. What happens is that structure can be reused. Those registration pages can just be updated with a new date, with a new headline. Those emails can be updated with a new date, with a new description, with just the new information for those webinars. So while it can be some work walking through all of these steps, especially if you're a live person. If you've been doing like a lot of social media live, the cool part about social media, going live on social media, is it's pretty easy. Like you click 3 buttons and you're done. Where webinars, there are some steps, but once you get this in place, it is so exciting because you can use it over and over. It really What I often tell people to do is create signature webinar topics. And what that means is take the top 3 things that you always hear from customers, whether they're hurdles for people to drive change, whether they're challenges that they have that they find that your service or your product will help them over it, or if it's common objections or things that people just don't understand. They have a lot of questions around, turning those into webinar topics, and then offering that webinar multiple times in the year is a great way to get that information out to a broad audience. I think sometimes people forget and think that once you've done a talk, once you've talked about a topic, that's it. And that's not the case. For webinars, you can offer it multiple times in the year because you should be bringing in new people, new customers, getting new people inspired. And if new people are coming in, they didn't know you did that webinar 3 months ago or 2 months ago. So it's a great way to constantly kind of build a process that helps you bring in and introduce yourself to a new audience. Now, the other thing about this is you can also have signature topics that you use for people who are closer into the fold. So what I tend to do is I'll have signature topics that I'll do throughout the year, and then I'll have specialty topics that I don't repeat. These specialty topics are more my nurturing topics, and what they tend to do is offer them to my customers, offer them to people who've maybe been prospects for a while. And what happens is you can have some diversity in your topics, but remember, because we have the structure in place, all we have to do is change titles, dates, and descriptions, and we are ready. I really find it's a great way to kind of use what you've already created as an additional marketing tool, even if you're doing things like replays. And then the other thing I love about it is webinars is a really cool way to get like instant feedback on something. So if you're teaching something new, if you're teaching a new concept, if you're changing the way that you're actually teaching something, you can ask people, is that clear? What do you think of this? Or if you're introducing something new in your business, you can get people who are physically in that webinar tell you, oh, that's great. Or I'm not sure I understood. Or it's not exactly what I was looking for. I wish it was more like this. And while sometimes you have to get used to swallowing that feedback, it is such a great blessing to be able to get instant feedback from people. Because before you go broad, before you finalize this presentation, before you maybe take it on the road and potentially start doing it at live events, you can do them in webinars and really perfect them over time by getting feedback, getting responses, getting people excited, and therefore you will know what your audience and your customer wants, and you can make sure you can quickly start to deliver that content. All right. Now, as we wrap up this bite, I just want to give you a couple, some advice, just a couple of things as you're getting started. If I've gotten you fired up, if you're ready to go with webinars. Number one, webinars have to be amazing content. You have to impress the people on your webinar. Often it is your best chance to wow them. So therefore, don't hold back. Don't be worried about, oh, I'm giving away this, or is it too much to give away? The idea is you really want people to walk away and feel like they got something great. Because if they got something great from you for free, they're going to be super excited at buying your product or your service because you've already established a high bar as far as the value that you bring. The other thing is bootstrap this. Don't go fancy in the beginning. Just work your way there. I did the same thing. When I first started, I was using Google Hangouts and YouTube and all of these tools that were free tools that I could use. Yes, I had to patch it together and it created more steps, but it was free. Then I worked my way up to the bigger software. The software I use now is called Big Marker, and I absolutely love it because it gives me all the bells and whistles, but it took me years before I signed up for the bells and whistles. Number one, I wanted to make sure I could afford it. The software can get expensive, and running a business can get expensive overall, so I had to be smart. The other thing is I wanted to get good at my webinars. I wanted to make sure the content was ready, people were excited, people were showing up before I made this huge investment. As well as when I did the bootstrapping, I knew what I wanted. There's a ton of webinar tools out there. So what will help you choose the best when you're ready is to get some practice with some of these free tools, because you'll start to know, okay, this is the features that are most important to me and I may be willing to pay for. The other thing is make your webinars as interactive as possible. Ask your audience questions, because what you don't want to happen is you just do a presentation, you just completely go through, and what happens is in the end, people are like, okay, thank you. You want to get them engaged. You want to make sure that they are with you. You're going to have 30, maybe even 40 minutes with a group of people. And because you're not physically in front of them, you may not see the head nods. You don't know necessarily if they're there, if they're understanding. So ask those questions. Ask them to post something. Ask them to share if yes, you've used this tool before. If yes, you've had this question before. Yes, if you had this fear before. Ask them to just, even yes or no questions can help and bring people in and help you know if your audience is with you. And then finally, take this process one step at a time. This is not about you being perfect. This is not about you making sure you've done it exactly right or the way Stephanie would do it or the way so-and-so did it. This is about you bringing value to your prospects and your customer base and to your community, and about you connecting with them. So as long as you're true to what you do, as long as your heart is in it, and as long as you're in a giving mode, it's going to go well. Even when the software breaks down. I had a webinar last month. Oh my goodness, everything broke. Everything wasn't working. My computer shut down. The software wasn't working. The volume. I started late. Oh my goodness. I was super, super, super embarrassed. However, the reality is that stuff happens. Even to people who do them all the time, the tech sometimes will fail you, and sometimes there's just stuff that goes wrong. But the reality is, even through all of that, I wanted to make sure I showed up. I wanted to make sure I was there and I gave the value, because the reality is it doesn't have to be perfect. People are there to get something, to receive something. So just make sure you give, and therefore it will go well. And you'll just get better and better over time. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this bite. I really appreciate it. And if you have any other questions, you can always shoot us an email, jump on our website, and interact with us in social media. All right. Take care. Bye.